are going to move into a body scan practice, which is traditionally done lying down, but again, you don't need to lie down, you can sit up if you want to. My suggestion would be, just before we go into that, is just to move your body in some way. You might want to just kind of give a little pat to the shoulders and down the arms. You can stand up and do this if you feel like you need to kind of have a little shift of body posture down perhaps the other arm. Just do whatever feels right for your body. And have a little pat across your chest. Take some nice deep breaths. I'm going to just give your head and neck a little massage, a kind of sweet feeling into the back of the neck, just whatever is nice. And the front of the body and the back of the body. Buttocks and lower back might need just a little tapping or rubbing. And down the legs into the groins. And then when you're ready, when you've done that little bit of self-care and checking in with your body, shifting to a comfortable and supportive position to have a go at this body scan. So if you're lying down, you might want to support under the back of your legs, have a cushion or a chair supporting the lower legs or underneath the knees. If you're sitting, just whatever you need, almost like making a little nest around you so that your back and your head even can be supported. Just taking time to make those adjustments. So this is a healing version of a body scan that both Donna and I learned at a Bristol Insight day we did just a couple of weeks ago with somebody called Suvacho, and I wanted to share it with you tonight just because I found it really helpful. I've been practicing it since then, particularly if you've got any sort of bodily aches and pains, or if you're feeling a bit kind of listless and almost a little bit fed up. I think this practice can be really helpful. So you might like to close your eyes, or you might like to have a soft gaze. If you're lying down, you might even want to put something over your eyes, a little blanket or an eye mask. Really allow the eye sockets, the eyeballs to kind of release back in the eye sockets. And again, just feeling into the shape of your body now. Places where your body makes contact with whatever's below it, whatever's supporting it, the ground. Cushion perhaps behind the head, chair if you're sitting. Allow the breath to fully come in and fully flow back out. And each time you breathe out, a sense that the body can let go just a little bit more and rest a bit more fully into these supportive surfaces. So we're letting go each time you breathe out. And just like we do in the regular body scan, before moving into the practice, it can be helpful to identify an anchor. a place that can be supportive to return our attention to. If at any time during the practice it feels a bit overwhelming, or if you get a bit lost or even a bit sleepy. So that might be the breath. Wherever you can feel your breath most clearly and easily in this position. Around the nose, around the mouth, or perhaps around the torso. But the breath isn't always as supportive for people, so if you don't want to use the breath as an anchor, then maybe identifying a part of your body that you can feel clearly resting into a support, feet on the ground or the buttocks or the back of the body. And the other kind of anchor that can be helpful is to listen out for sounds, or to notice sounds as they come into our awareness. So choosing your preferred anchor and just have a moment to let your attention rest there, knowing that this can be a place we can come back to whenever we need to. And then we're going to take our attention down the body into the ankle joints. And can you just let your attention drift down your body to notice your ankles? There's a kind of bone on the inside, a bone on the outside, and the kind of joint in between the two. Just a moment to get a sense of your ankles. And then next time you notice a breath coming in, as if you're following that breath directly into the middle of the ankle joint as best you can. Breathing into that space in the middle of the ankle joint between the bones. And then as you breathe out, a kind of blossoming, softening out to the area around your ankles, the foot and the bottom of the lower legs. So as best you can, either imagining or feeling, getting a sense of the breath as you breathe in, coming directly into the ankles. Middle of the ankles, the space between the bones, and then as you breathe out, a kind of softening around the ankles back into the parts of the body around the ankles. And if that just feels a bit too much, then you can simply hold the ankles in your awareness and just follow your breath as it flows in and it flows out. So whatever works for you for a few rounds. So awareness of the ankles and the breath flowing in and then blossoming back out. next you follow a breath out, letting go of the ankles in your awareness. And moving up to the knees. So just exploring this part of your body, the knees. What shape are your knees in at the moment? Bent or straight? The kind of kneecap, the bony bit at the front, the fleshy fold at the back. So holding the knees in your awareness, and then if it feels okay to imagine or feel, get a sense of the breath flowing right into that hinge joint of the knee as you breathe in. Almost a sense of kind of filling up the knee from the inside with the in-breath, and then as you breathe out, just letting that flow, expand, blossom out to the area around your knee, lower leg, the upper leg, shin bone, thigh bone. Tension might wander off, that's quite normal, part of being a human being, unfortunately. So if we notice that, just congratulate yourself for catching. Almost like the mind gets a bit hijacked by something. So then just gently, kindly bringing your attention back to the part of the body that we're on, the knees. And beginning again with that beginner's mind attitude, starting afresh, starting anew, bringing a renewed curiosity to the breath into the knees, flowing back out from the knees. And then the next time that you follow a breath out, just letting the knees melt away into the background of your awareness. And bringing your attention up to the hips, the ball and socket joint of your hip, which is actually in closer towards the groins. So just taking a moment to see if you can identify and connect with the ball and socket joint of the hip. As best you can, getting a sense of that, feel of that, or imagining that. And then if it's okay to breathe into the kind of space around the ball, between the ball and the socket, the middle of the hip joint. As you breathe out, releasing back out, softening back out to the pelvis, groins, the buttocks, the area around your hips. Alternatively, holding the hips in your awareness and just following your breath in and out in the kind of normal fashion, if that feels more appropriate. And then from the hips we're going to widen our view to take in all three of those joints, the ankles, the knees and the hips together. And just for the next few breath rounds, seeing what it's like to breathe into all three, the ankles, the knees and the hips, as you breathe out, releasing back out around the hips, around the knees, around the ankles. In whatever way works for you. And on the next time that you follow a breath out, just letting go of that lower half of the body, letting the ankles and knees and hips melt into the background of your awareness. And we're shifting our awareness up to the upper body, coming first of all to the wrists, right and the left wrists in the same way, getting a sense of the wrists. They're resting on something, the bones around the wrists, inner and outer edges. And then when you're ready, next time you notice a breath coming in, letting this breath flow directly into the middle of the wrists, middle of the bones, space between the bones in the middle of the joint. And then as you breathe out, a kind of softening, blossoming, releasing back out around the wrist to the hand and the lower arms. As best you can, bringing your attention back to the wrists if it's wandered off. Remembering that anchor place that we identified at the beginning, using that if you need to as a way of connecting in and stabilising, picking up the interest of the wrists, feel of the wrists, the breath flowing in and out. Next time that you notice a breath start to flow out, you can let go of the wrists in your awareness. If you're turning off the torchlight, letting that fade into the background, and then moving the torch beam of your awareness up to the elbows. Just getting a felt sense of your elbows, whether they're bent or laid out straight. A bit like the knees, the kind of bony bit of the elbow, squishy fold. And then when you're ready, connecting with the breath. In-breath flowing right into the middle of the elbow. Out-breath releasing out to the lower and upper arms. breath starts to flow out, we can let go of the elbows in our awareness. And shift up to the shoulder, ball and socket of the upper arm and shoulder joint. And again, this ball and socket is in closer towards the collarbones. So getting a real sense of this middle of this joint, another ball and socket joint. And then what's it like to invite the breath in here, flowing in and around the ball, between the ball and the socket. Spreading out to the shoulders, the neck, collarbone, the chest, the throat, even space around the shoulders. Giving it the permission to soften, release, gently open, like a flower that's blossoming. And then we're going to widen out our attention from the shoulder back out to the whole body. And see if we can connect now just briefly with the ankles and the wrists. Ankles where we started and the wrists. Just for a couple of breaths, breathing into those two places at the same time, filling up the ankles, filling up the wrists, releasing back out to the space around them. And then shifting, letting go of ankles and wrists, shifting up to the elbows and the knees, holding the elbows and the knees together in your awareness, and letting the breath flow in and out of those areas. Perhaps a sense of filling up on the in-breath, softening out on the out-breath. And letting go of the elbows and the knees and shifting up to the hips and the shoulders, two ball and socket joints. Best you can, holding those in your awareness together, breathing in and around the balls and the sockets, releasing back out to pelvic girdle and the shoulder girdle around them. And then letting go of all of the joints and bringing your awareness just for the last bit of this practice to the back of the head. Resting perhaps on the ground or the top of the spine if you're sitting. And with a slightly open mouth, breathing in through the mouth to the back of the head. As you breathe in and as you breathe out, just that softening out around that part of your body, down into the neck, perhaps into the face, up to the top of the head. Just for a few breaths. out to hold the whole body in your awareness, the arms and the legs, the back of the body, the back of the head. And just for the last couple of breaths, breathing into that whole body space. All the way down to the feet and the toes. All the way out to the fingers, fingertips. All the way up into the head and the face. And we'll just do that as we ring the bowl. I'm going to ring it 3 times, so just connect with the whole body and hear the sound of the bowl until it dissolves away into silence. Might like to just wriggle fingers and toes, perhaps rotate any joints, wrists or elbows, ankles, knees, shoulders and hips. And then if you are lying down, it's always good to bend up your knees and roll over to one side so that you come up more safely from that side position.